speaker is Mr. MOTAZ ABDULRAHMAN. His talk is titled, Why Most of Small Startup Businesses Fail Within 3 Years in Saudi Arabia.
I would like to thank Professor Al-Lam for his invitation, and also I would like to thank Al-Ahlia University for their warm hospitality. My subject is about why entrepreneurship, or why do most of small startup businesses fail within 3 years in Saudi Arabia. The question whether entrepreneurship can enhance an economic growth may appear easy to answer. Entrepreneurship creates businesses, which in return create jobs and enhance competition, thus leading to increased productivity. In fact, entrepreneurship is about creating a vision and paving the way to realizing it. Entrepreneurs are individuals who are identify market needs and launch to meet those needs. They are risk takers. They are risk takers who provide energy for change, innovation, and growth in economic life. Understanding common small startup businesses barriers factors will help entrepreneurs to get off the right path. This study sets out to contribute empirically in why most of small startup entrepreneurial businesses die young in Saudi Arabia within 3 years of its operation in the light of the Saudi Vision 2030. The problem, over the last decades, the Saudi government has been struggling to stabilize its economy, especially after the last decline in oil price, which dropped by the end of 2015 from 120 US dollar per barrel to 30 US dollar per barrel, bearing in mind that 87% of the country's GDP comes from oil. By the beginning of 2016, the Saudi government recognized the need to diversify its economy. Hence, they announced a series of economic reforms, the Vision Plan 2030. The Saudi government believes that entrepreneurship is the panacea of its economy problem. The Saudi government has been very generous, providing financial and non-financial services to support entrepreneurs. The problem that most of them still failing after approving their feasibility study and marketing plans by official government expertise. There are a lack of research into entrepreneurship in developing countries in general, especially where Saudi Arabia is concerned. It's expected through exploring the most significant factors that created barriers into survival for the small startup project in Saudi Arabia will hasten the increase of entrepreneurship both locally and further. Besides, it will enhance the government and private economic sector. The aim. Many studies have focused on the success of new small businesses and ignored the fact that many of small businesses are failing. The aim is to reduce the entrepreneurial small startup businesses failure in Saudi Arabia to improve the economic growth in the light of the governmental vision, the Vision Plan 2030. The study will examine the entrepreneurs who had a business that did not last for more than 3 years of operation, with a 10 years of time zone in order to cover any economic peak and recession. The research question, I'm trying to answer one question: why most of the small startup businesses fail within 3 years in Saudi Arabia. In order to answer this question, I divided them into 3 sub-questions. What are the significant personal entrepreneurial factors that influence small startup businesses' failure? To identify the significant personal factors such as age, experience, education, and gender shaping the startup failure, and entrepreneurial factors such as risk-taker, motivation, creativity, and ambitious. The second question is, what are the significant enterprise factors that influence the small startup businesses to fail? To identify that, what are the enterprise factors on the daily operation businesses, such as technology, business plan, location, marketing, management skills, and other internal factors. The third question, which is the most important one, and the heavy one, what are the significant environmental factors that influence small startup businesses to fail? In order to identify the environmental factor, I divide them into 4 axes: political factors, economical factors, socio-cultural factors, and infrastructure factor. But the definition that I have adopted, entrepreneurs, I adopt that any individual who take risk to start their own business, business failure, any business that start and did not last more than 3 years of operation, a startup, which means a new company aged less than 4 years, and the small businesses in Saudi Arabia being defined by the Saudi SMEs Authority is that the business that has an income less than 800,000 and has less than 25 employees. Referencing SMEs, Saudi Arabia SMEs. 800,000 US dollar, 3 million Saudi riyal. Previous studies, let me go back, okay. So the challenges of running startup nowadays are very complicated and harder than any other period of times. Changing in technology, manufacturing innovation, product, high competition, and the market regulations are factors that put pressure and push to change the classical way of managing the firm. As a result, the higher rate of closer exits of startup are very high. There are a few studies which have investigated entrepreneurship in Saudi Arabia. Several researchers focus on the success factor of SMEs. On the other hand, the majority of the research have focused on the female entrepreneurship in Saudi Arabia as a gender issues. Very few research have focused on the government policies and the economic development in Saudi Arabia. The present study differs than other previous studies in the aspect that it takes a broader look at the population of the startup in a wider sense. Theories of entrepreneurship. Since entrepreneurship is a multidisciplinary field, it has a deeply linked with other social scientific disciplines such as economic, management, psychology, anthropology, and sociology. There are a massive literature focusing on small businesses and entrepreneurship, but there is no general agreed in a theoretical framework to carry out this research. For that, I created a framework. As you can see from the literature review, I have divided them into 3 sections: entrepreneurial or personal entrepreneurial factors, then the enterprise factors, and last, the environmental factors. From the environmental factors, I divide them by 4 axes: infrastructure, economic, political, and socio-cultural factor. Methodology. It could be argued that mixed methods might help improve entrepreneurship research, addressing challenges, emphasizing the previous studies, and to achieve triangulations. Calls for combined use of qualitative and quantitative research has also made in entrepreneurship. The function of the narrow methodology approach would show a small part of the issue. Therefore, the use of mixed method has recorded in the social research discipline and will add a richness of the finding. Subsequently, mixed methods are more practical by integrated questionnaires as a first phase, followed by semi-structured interviews as a second phase for data collection. What I gathered 43 significant factors based from the literature review and the previous studies. From the personal entrepreneurial factors, I have gathered 13 factors. And from the enterprise factors, I have gathered 9 factors. And from the environmental factors, I have gathered 21 factor. We believe, through our knowledge and experience of the local culture, that online survey will be the most suitable and useful tools of the research regarding to the fast distribution, accuracy to meet research population, and the response rate through the government-specific channels, and by influential entrepreneurs' account on Twitter to meet entrepreneurs who did not use any government services. I have used a Qualtrics online survey tool. The survey was close-ended. I did a pilot test in English version, then I translated into an Arabic version, and I did another pilot test as well in order to make sure that the language are clear and understandable. The questionnaire were tested, and it's valid and reliable. My target in the survey are any entrepreneur who had a small startup businesses that did not survive within 3 years of operation. I divide my survey target into 2 groups. One, the entrepreneurs who get supported by the government, and entrepreneurs who did not get supported by the government. What I mean by supported, I mean financially and non-financial. I have collected more than 500 surveys. 209 of them were valid based on the convinced sample. An interview. I'm still. I haven't finished it. I haven't made any analysis because I'm still in the data collection.
Please keep the questions after the presentation, if you don't mind, please. Please continue.
I will be interviewing a government official and the qualitative. I will be interviewing government official employees from Authority of SMEs, Social Development Bank, National Entrepreneurs Institute, and Municipal of Riyadh region. Plus 10 entrepreneurs, 5 success and 5 non-success entrepreneurs. And, for the analyzing, I will be using SPSS version 20. It's used for qualitative. This software has largely been used and accepted by the research, and qualitative will be annually analyzed and to have a clear analyzing and to familiarize myself with the data. Last but not least, the contribution. Basically, there is a lack of research in entrepreneurship in developing countries in general, where Saudi Arabia is concerned, improving the lack of knowledge concerning entrepreneurship projects in the context of the developing Middle Eastern by focusing on Saudi Arabia, and the outcomes of this study will be shared with agencies such as the Ministry of Economy and Planning, National Entrepreneurship Institute, King Salman Entrepreneurship Initiatives, and the Saudi Credit and Saving Bank, the Saudi Chamber of Commerce, and the Saudi Industrial Development Funds, and other institutions. This study will be beneficial to startups, entrepreneurs who still in their early stages with regard to their rules and contribution and the government vision, diversity of its economy. Well, thank you very much for that.
Please have a seat. So we are going to have 2 questions for each presenter.
This is a question for MOTAZ. Have you collected the 290?
Yes, please.
Hi, Professor. Yes, I did. I collected 290 actually was valid. I collected more than 500.
Okay. I just have a question about the statistics involved. You're looking for entrepreneurs who have failed.
Yes.
There may be a serious non-response bias problem. in your sample? Because if they have failed, they might not want to tell you they failed.
Good question.
And therefore, any statistical analysis that you do will not be valid.
Mm-hmm.
It will be biased.
Yes, I have the answer for that.
Good. Okay, yes. What's the answer?
Well, that's correct, but because of there is a lot of serious programs that happening in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia launched a program called Dullani. Dullani program. It's for entrepreneurs who has a problem into surviving. So they already have the data for them. So I went to this program, and thanks to them, they helped me as a channel to get in touch with them. Plus, we have an institution called Riyada. Riyada means in Arabic entrepreneurship. Also, they have a list of unsuccessful entrepreneurs' business, so they also distribute my survey to them. And also, I got in contact with many influential entrepreneurs in Saudi Arabia to put my link, the survey link, into their account in Twitter in order to see the other entrepreneurs who did not get any support by the government.
Okay, thank you, Motaz. Yes, doctor.
Now, the problem is that, as you all discussed, yes, from the literature review, you found it's negative, right? There is no positive impact. Now the question is why? Is it because everybody is talking about the solution through his perception? There is no theories for entrepreneurship to raise the economy or base the economy in the world? Or now every country in the world, now they have economic crisis, especially in GCC. Recently we start to hear about entrepreneurship. Is it because we have this problem, now we are going to move to talk about entrepreneurship? So we need something theory. We cannot base our results and our concepts on issues that are related to perception. So what is the theory that you have, all of you, in your research work, to convince people that entrepreneurship, it will have a positive impact, not a negative impact on economy? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saeed. This is a really important question. Why do we have, in some studies, I didn't mention all studies, and that's because these studies, they focus on necessity entrepreneurs, those who have no other options to get a job. So they open like a small supermarket, something that it is imitative, it has no innovation. So these studies, they focus on necessity entrepreneurs. However, we have many successful stories about entrepreneurs in GCC countries, such as Talabat. It was sold to a German technology for more than $150 million. Recently, Souq.com was sold for Amazon for more than $400 million. So we have some good stories. But in literature, the other side of literature, they discuss about opportunity entrepreneurs. And I mentioned this in my presentation, that we really need to focus on innovative entrepreneurs who can bring new knowledge to economic growth. And if we don't, and here we miss the core concept that entrepreneurs are not motivated unless if they have a good entrepreneurial environment. And this entrepreneurial environment comes from institutions, as simple as that. You have very good examples by North Korea with South Korea. They have different institutional framework that would support entrepreneurs to be more significant. So this is the main theoretical background about it. You have many studies regarding to this through GEM reports, World Bank reports, and so forth. So we have two sides. We really need to focus on the opportunity entrepreneurs more than necessity entrepreneurs. Would you like to add something? Yes, please.
Well, Professor, I agree with you and some of what you said. Regarding to entrepreneurs, yes, we have a success story and we have a failure stories. The thing is that, because if you see that, I have focused a lot in the environmental factors, because in GCC or in developing countries, we have a problem with our infrastructure. If you take an example of a business that you can start in Saudi and take the exact business and open it in the United States, you might see a different result. You might see that the business in Saudi will fail, but if you put it in the United States, it will it will make a big success. So the things that I think we need to really focus in the infrastructure for entrepreneurship in order to enhance the success rate and also to reduce the failure.
Thank you. One more question so we can end the session. Yes, please.
Have you considered sort of gender in your research and the age in your research? Because, you know, the women entrepreneurship is going and booming. So do you consider this or not?
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you for that question. Again, to your question, Doctor, yes, actually, if you see that, I divided the factors into three sections: entrepreneurial/personal factors, and enterprise factors, and the environmental factors. So regarding to the personal/entrepreneurial factors, yes, from the personal factors, I put in mind or under consideration the gender, the age, work experience, dedicated hours, and so on. And also regarding to the entrepreneurial factors, the motivation, the ambitious, and the skills, and so on.
Okay, thank you very much. And I can recommend one index called Global Entrepreneurship Index, GEI. You can tell about Qatar. Qatar is one of the most entrepreneurial countries among GCCs.
We would like to invite Professor Abdullah Al-Hawaj, Professor Mansour Al-Ali, and Professor Allam Ahmed to please come on stage to reward our speakers. Mr. MOTAZ Abdulrahman.